Some stories don't start with a scream, but with silence, the kind of silence that arrives when sleep simply never comes. Imagine your body begging for rest while your brain refuses to obey. For a rare group of people, this isn't imagination. It's daily reality and sense. Tonight, we dive into the world of those who cannot sleep, where biology rebels and the boundaries of human endurance are pushed to extremes. Chapter 1: When the Night Never Ends. For most people, sleep is automatic, a cycle the brain enters without permission or effort. But for some, that switch is broken. There are individuals diagnosed with conditions like fatal familial insomnia, rare neurological disorders, or unexplained insomnia, where the brain simply refuses to shut down. Their nights stretch endlessly, not in peaceful quiet, but in a strange, waking prison where consciousness becomes a burden. Some describe it as being trapped inside their own body, tired enough to collapse, yet unable to cross the threshold into sleep. The body fights back, muscles ache, thoughts slow, coordination weakens, but the mind continues running as if trapped in an endless loop. Before we go deeper, if you're finding this journey fascinating, take a moment to like the video and subscribe. It helps the channel grow and lets us explore more mind-bending human mysteries. Chapter 2: What the Body Does Without Sleep. When sleep disappears, the nervous system becomes unstable. Hormones spike unpredictably, memory falters, and reality begins to blur at the edges. Some people report hearing faint whispers or seeing flickers of movement in empty rooms, a mind trying desperately to compensate for the lack of rest. Others experience emotional swings, sudden anger, unexpected tears, or moments of eerie calm where everything feels detached. This is not simple tiredness. It is the body slowly losing its anchor to normal biological rhythm. Chapter 3: The Science of Sleepless Minds. When most people sleep, their brain undergoes a complex symphony of electrical signals, neurotransmitter changes, and hormonal shifts. This process is not just a rest period. It is a time when memories are sorted, emotions are processed, and the body heals itself at a cellular level. Sleep is divided into stages: non-REM sleep, which includes light and deep sleep, and REM sleep, where dreaming and intense brain activity occur. Each stage has its own purpose. Deep sleep repairs muscles, strengthens the immune system, and removes toxins from the brain. REM sleep, on the other hand, is essential for emotional regulation and memory consolidation. Without it, people can become mentally unstable very quickly. For those who cannot sleep at all, the consequences are severe and cumulative. Studies show that after just 48 hours without sleep, the brain begins to malfunction. Reaction times slow, attention collapses, and hallucinations can start. Beyond 72 hours, the risk of severe cognitive impairment rises sharply. People lose the ability to reason clearly and may experience emotional instability or paranoia. Now, in extremely rare cases such as fatal familial insomnia, people cannot sleep at all for months, even under medication or extreme interventions. The disease progresses in stages. Initially, patients have difficulty falling asleep, followed by complete inability to sleep accompanied by panic, hallucinations, and eventual cognitive decline. What's terrifying is that the body also begins to fail. The autonomic nervous system struggles to regulate heart rate, blood pressure, and temperature, leading to organ dysfunction. Scientists are still trying to understand why some people are genetically predisposed to this condition, while others with similar sleep disturbances may live relatively normal lives. In all cases, the brain's inability to enter restorative sleep stages triggers a cascade of neurodegenerative processes. Prion proteins, misfolded proteins, and other molecular damages accumulate, destroying neurons slowly but irreversibly. It is in this relentless destruction that scientists observe the true horror of sleeplessness, not simply tiredness, but the slow unraveling of identity, memory, and personality. And here, if you're already fascinated or horrified, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. There's so much more to uncover about the strange world of sleepless humans. Even short-term chronic insomnia can mimic some of these effects. Mood swings, poor decision-making, and even physical deterioration like weight loss or high blood pressure. Researchers are using brain imaging to understand these patterns. PET scans, MRI studies, and EEG recordings reveal hyperactive regions, stress responses, and abnormal connectivity. Sleep is not optional. For humans, it is as essential as oxygen or food, and when deprived entirely, the consequences are more severe than almost any other bodily neglect. Chapter 4: Real Lives on the Edge of Sleep. For most people, insomnia is an occasional nuisance, a night or two of tossing and turning. But for a small fraction of humans, insomnia is a lifelong prison, shaping every thought, action, and emotion. Take the case of Randy Gardner, a high school student who stayed awake for 11 days in 1964 as part of a science experiment. Though he survived, Gardner experienced severe cognitive impairment, memory lapses, paranoia, and hallucinations. A window into what total sleep deprivation can do even to a healthy young brain. Now, imagine this condition not as an experiment, but as a daily reality for people suffering from fatal familial insomnia. Patients initially notice subtle changes, difficulty concentrating, irritability, and minor memory lapses. But soon, nights become longer and more terrifying. They lie awake, heart racing, unable to rest, as panic and dread take over. Sleep becomes a myth, a word associated with something others can experience while they remain trapped in wakefulness. Autopsies reveal the devastating toll. The thalamus, a central brain region regulating sleep and sensory signals, is severely damaged. It is a cruel paradox. The mind knows, perceives, and suffers, while the body slowly succumbs to the lack of restorative sleep. Some families have tried desperate measures, experimental drugs, extreme sedation, even novel therapies like deep brain stimulation, but results remain largely ineffective. It is a cruel paradox. The mind knows, perceives, and suffers, while the body slowly succumbs to the lack of restorative sleep. Some families have tried desperate measures, experimental drugs, extreme sedation, even novel therapies like deep brain stimulation, but results remain largely ineffective. The rarity of the disease also means limited research funding and few specialists, leaving patients and families isolated in their struggle. Yet, even in more common insomnia, the effects are profound. Chronic sleep loss alters gene expression, immune function, and even emotional resilience. In our society, sleep is often undervalued, seen as a luxury rather than a necessity. But the stories of those who cannot sleep force us to reconsider this basic human requirement. Researchers continue to explore genetic pathways, brain signaling abnormalities, and cellular damage, hoping that one day interventions can prevent this slow, merciless decline. Chapter 5: The Unforgiving Reality of Endless Wakefulness. Imagine a world where the simple act of closing your eyes is denied to you for years, perhaps decades. For people suffering from extreme insomnia, this is not imagination. It is a cruel, unrelenting reality. The body begins to betray itself. Immune systems weaken, metabolic functions falter, and even minor infections can become life-threatening. In the brain, neurons fire erratically, memory fragments disappear, judgment falters, and hallucinations merge with reality, making it difficult to distinguish what is real. One of the most haunting aspects is the emotional toll. Panic, fear, and frustration dominate waking hours, often escalating into severe depression or anxiety disorders. Families describe it as watching a loved one slowly disappear, not in body, but in mind, as personality erodes under relentless wakefulness. Some researchers are exploring experimental therapies, gene editing, prion-targeted drugs, and advanced neurological interventions. But progress is slow and uncertain. Society often dismisses insomnia as minor or self-inflicted, yet for these rare individuals, it is nothing short of catastrophic. Even ordinary chronic insomnia carries echoes of this horror. Long-term sleep deprivation increases risks of cardiovascular disease, diabetes, obesity, and mental disorders. Stories of sleepless humans challenge our understanding of what it means to be alive. Sleep is a necessity, not a luxury. It is a pillar of life that, when removed, unravels the very fabric of health, cognition, and identity. And yet, humanity persists, searching for answers, treatments, and a hope that one day no one will have to endure the torment of permanent wakefulness. So, the next time you lay your head on a pillow and drift into sleep, remember the fragility and wonder of this gift. Chapter 6: The Hidden Dangers of Oversleeping. Sleep is essential, but like many things in life, too much can be harmful. While chronic sleep deprivation has well-known risks, consistently sleeping more than 9 or 10 hours per night is also associated with serious health consequences. Studies show that long sleepers, those who regularly exceed 10 hours of sleep, have higher rates of cardiovascular disease, including heart attacks and strokes. One reason may be that extended sleep is often fragmented, leading to disruptions in circadian rhythms and increased stress hormone levels. Moreover, oversleeping has been linked to obesity and diabetes. Research suggests that excessive sleep may reduce physical activity levels, slow metabolism, and even affect insulin sensitivity, increasing the risk of type 2 diabetes. Mental health is also impacted. Long sleep duration has been correlated with depression, anxiety, and cognitive decline. Interestingly, some studies suggest a bidirectional relationship. Depression can cause oversleeping, and oversleeping can exacerbate depressive symptoms. Neurologists have observed that long sleepers often experience increased brain inflammation markers, which may contribute to slower cognitive performance and memory problems. There are also social and practical consequences. Oversleepers may struggle with daytime fatigue despite sleeping many hours, leading to reduced productivity and social withdrawal. Another surprising effect is on longevity. Some population studies indicate that regularly sleeping more than 9 hours per night is associated with slightly higher mortality risk, though the reasons are not fully understood. It's not just the hours, but the quality of sleep that matters. Fragmented, overscheduled, or non-restorative sleep can amplify the risks associated with long durations. Scientists are still investigating why the human body reacts negatively to both extremes, too little and too much sleep. Some hypotheses suggest that excessive sleep may reflect underlying health issues such as cardiovascular dysfunction, metabolic disorders, or inflammatory processes. Regardless, moderation appears to be key. 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep per night remains optimal for most adults. Even in our fascination with sleep deprivation, we must not forget that oversleeping carries its own quiet dangers, subtle, creeping, and potentially life-altering. Chapter 7: Psychological and Social Consequences of Sleep Disorders. Sleep is not just a biological necessity, it is deeply entwined with mental health and social functioning. Chronic insomnia, for example, is strongly correlated with anxiety disorders, depression, and irritability. Even short-term sleep deprivation can magnify emotional reactions, causing overreactions to minor stressors. People who cannot sleep often experience a distorted perception of reality, struggling to differentiate between actual events and imagined threats. Social relationships suffer as well. Fatigue, irritability, and cognitive impairments make communication, empathy, and patience difficult. Family members often report tension and frustration, describing the sleepless person as changed or unrecognizable. Psychologically, a vicious cycle can develop. Poor sleep leads to anxiety or depression, which in turn worsens sleep, creating a feedback loop that is hard to escape. Even social isolation contributes. Sleepless individuals may avoid friends or public spaces due to exhaustion, embarrassment, or fear of judgment. Long-term sleep disorders can fundamentally change personality, making individuals more irritable, less empathetic, and prone to mood swings. Adolescents and young adults are particularly vulnerable. Disrupted sleep patterns affect social development, academic performance, and emotional regulation. Studies also suggest that chronic insomnia increases the likelihood of substance abuse as individuals attempt to self-medicate fatigue, anxiety, or depression. Moreover, the stigma surrounding sleep disorders often prevents people from seeking help, worsening isolation and mental health outcomes. Even when treatment is sought, recovery is slow. Cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, CBTI, and medication can help, but lifestyle, environment, and psychological factors all play critical roles. Understanding the psychological and social impact of sleep disorders emphasizes that sleep is not a solitary biological process. It is deeply woven into every facet of human life. Chapter 8: Artificial Dream Implants, the Future of Sleep. Imagine a world where sleep is no longer a private, uncontrolled experience, but a programmable adventure. Artificial Dream Implants, or ADIs, are microchip devices that interface directly with the brain's neural networks, allowing precise control over dreams. Users can select themes, emotions, even storylines, effectively living multiple alternative lives while asleep. Some corporations have begun selling premium dreams, tailored experiences designed for pleasure, education, or personal development. However, not all dreams are benign. Nightmares can be programmed for therapeutic exposure, but misuse can lead to psychological trauma. Neuroscientists warn that prolonged use of ADIS may blur the boundary between reality and dream, causing identity disorientation and memory confusion. In experimental trials, some participants began experiencing dream bleed, where elements of programmed dreams intruded upon waking perception. Despite the risks, the technology is advancing rapidly. Some visionaries believe ADIS could revolutionize education, entertainment, and even therapy. Imagine learning a new language, practicing a musical instrument, or confronting phobias entirely within a dream state. No fatigue, no real-world consequences. Yet, as with all powerful tools, ethics become paramount. Who controls the dream content? Can memories be altered without consent? Society faces a dilemma: unlimited access to experiences and personal growth, or potential manipulation, addiction, and loss of self. Some dream hackers have already begun experimenting, inserting surreal or malicious content into public networks of ADIS, creating shared nightmares that affect thousands simultaneously. The line between pleasure and danger, reality and simulation, grows thinner with each advancement. And so, as we close this journey into the future of sleep, remember, the human mind is both fragile and resilient, capable of wondrous experiences, but also vulnerable to the consequences of its own dreams. Work performance declines dramatically. Decision-making, attention to detail, and problem-solving skills deteriorate under prolonged sleep loss. In extreme cases, sleep deprivation has been linked to accidents, errors, and even catastrophic failures in professional settings. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of sleeplessness, oversleeping, and artificial dreams. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, keep wondering about the mysteries of sleep. Sleep well, or dream boldly.